Have you ever been in a room full of people, maybe at a party, a family gathering, or even surrounded by coworkers, and still felt completely alone? You're not imagining it. And you're definitely not the only one. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General declared loneliness a national epidemic. 1 in 2 adults reported feeling lonely on a regular basis. And here's what's surprising: most of those people weren't physically isolated. They had friends, families, and social lives. So what's actually going on? Today, we're going to explore the psychology behind why you can feel deeply lonely, even when you're surrounded by other people. Let's start with what loneliness actually is. Most people think loneliness just means being alone. But psychologists define it differently. Loneliness is a subjective emotional state. It's the gap between the connections you want and the connections you actually have. You could be alone on a mountain and feel perfectly content. Or you could be at a wedding with 200 guests and feel invisible. It's not about how many people are around you. It's about how meaningful those interactions feel. So why does this gap exist? There are a few key psychological reasons. The first one is surface-level socializing. Think about your average day. You might talk to dozens of people, but how many of those conversations go beyond small talk? Researchers call this the difference between social snacking and social nourishment. Likes on social media, quick texts, casual hellos, these are social snacks. They give you a tiny hit of connection, but they don't fill you up. What your brain actually craves is vulnerability, shared experiences, and emotional depth. Without those, you can interact with people all day and still feel starving for connection. The second reason is what psychologists call emotional masking. Many of us have learned to hide how we really feel. We say we're fine when we're not. We laugh at jokes when we're hurting inside. Over time, this creates a painful paradox. You're present in conversations, but the real you is absent. And when people only connect with the version of you that you perform, that connection can feel hollow. Your brain knows the difference between being seen and being overlooked. The third reason is the comparison trap, and social media has made this worse than ever. When you scroll through feeds filled with people at parties, on vacations, laughing with friends, your brain does something sneaky. It compares their highlight reel to your behind-the-scenes footage. Researchers have found that passive scrolling, just watching without interacting, is directly linked to higher loneliness scores. You feel like everyone else has figured out connection except you. But here's the truth: most of them feel the same way. There's also a fascinating neurological component to this. Brain imaging studies show that loneliness activates the same regions of the brain as physical pain. Your brain literally processes social disconnection the same way it processes a broken arm. This is because humans evolved as social creatures. Being separated from the group once meant danger, even death. So your brain developed an alarm system to warn you when your social bonds are weakening. That ache you feel when you're lonely? It's your brain saying, something needs to change. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Loneliness can become a self-reinforcing cycle. When you feel lonely, your brain goes into a kind of threat mode. You start interpreting social signals more negatively. A friend who doesn't text back becomes evidence that nobody cares. A coworker who seems distant confirms that you don't belong. This hypervigilance makes you withdraw further, which makes the loneliness worse. Psychologists call this the loneliness loop. So what can you do about it? The research points to a few powerful strategies. First, prioritize depth over breadth. You don't need 50 friends. You need 2 or 3 people you can be truly honest with. Focus on deepening existing relationships rather than collecting new ones. Second, practice what researchers call social risk-taking. This means being a little more vulnerable than feels comfortable. Share something real. Ask a deeper question. The discomfort you feel is actually the doorway to genuine connection. Third, limit passive scrolling. Use social media to actively engage, comment, message, reach out, rather than just watching from the sidelines. And finally, recognize that feeling lonely doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means your brain is working exactly as it should, alerting you that you need more meaningful connection. The loneliness epidemic is real, but it's not unsolvable. It starts with understanding that connection isn't about proximity. It's about presence. It's about being truly seen by another person, and being willing to truly see them in return. If this video helped you understand something about yourself, consider subscribing for more psychology insights every single day. And remember, you're not alone in feeling alone.